Hello and welcome to Healthy Together Time. My name is Brittany. I am a certified Optavia coach. I'm so excited to have you guys all on tonight. And if you can't tell, happy fall. Happy first day of fall. We're really excited to be together as a community and just to, feel this magic of Optavia. So today I get to co-host with my best friend, which is really fun, Capri. So you'll be hearing from her. We're two energetic small people, so you'll hear us bouncing back and forth between the two of us. So we hope we can make you laugh and help you learn on the presentation tonight. So why don't we get started? I'm going to pull up the presentation and then push share screen, and we will get going. So hang on one second. Share my screen. Okay, there we go. So can everyone see my screen? It's loading. Awesome. Okay, so we're on the wrong thing. Let's go here. So we've talked a lot about our mind and our body, but tonight we're going to be focusing on our body. I will be going over all the components from Optavia. So if you're popping on as a fly on the wall and you don't really know anything about Optavia, I'm just going to give you a little brief overview of what that looks like. So let's go to this first slide. So there are 4 components to our system. So let's just do a little systems check with all of you. Maybe you've been a client for a while and you're stuck. Maybe something's not moving, and let's just see which one you can plug into a little bit better. So first we have an independent Optavia coach. So every person is assigned a coach, or you pick a coach, however you're matched up with someone. Now this is really great because this helps you and your coach to be accountable to each other. Think of them as a sounding board to be someone who is learning from you. You get to troubleshoot with them. Actually, something that's really cool is that Optavia does some clinical studies, and they've had people, not use their coach and use their coach. And people who check in with their coach 75% of the time lose twice the amount of weight. So that's one thing I want to let you guys know. If your coach isn't reaching out, you reach out to your coach, double your chances of having success. The second component is our Habits of Health transformational system. So it's a big book and another big book. And what they do is they go through different systems. We are not just telling you, let's eat some chicken and broccoli. Let's focus on what are we thinking about? How much are we sleeping? So many different components. So your life book is meant to be a guided journal for you, to just be learning things about yourself. And so that you can take this from a really successful change in your diet to a complete lifestyle change. So my clients who plug into this system and spend, you're going to be doing, 5 minutes. It's not a whole lot, 5 minutes a day, maybe 20 minutes a week, but just investing in yourself and in your mind is a huge component to lifelong success. And that's what we all want, right? The next one is our Optavia community. So congratulations, because you guys are all a part of it. Whether you're here on the Zoom or you're watching this on Facebook, or you're just listening to the podcast, we welcome you in any way. And we're so excited to have you be a part of this community. It's nice to hear that we can all come together, that we can share, we can cheer each other on. And the nice part about having this community is that we are connected throughout the entire United States, actually even Singapore and Hong Kong. So this community really is just something so positive, something so unique. And so if you know anyone who would benefit from these calls, invite them on. They don't have to be a client. This is something that we want to grow this community naturally, and we want to help people in all aspects of their life. So if you know anyone, invite them on. Our last component, the fourth component, is our scientifically designed fuelings. So having a fueling is really, really cool. They are portion controlled for you. This system is not easy, but it's very simple. So what we do is we come up with a way to make sure your blood sugars are nice and in a steady state so that you're really not starving yourself to health. You're protecting your lean muscle mass, and you are doing it in a way that you're not hungry. You know, at the end of the day, if I can end my day with a brownie or some chocolate pudding, like I feel like I'm really winning here. And so the system is made to be very simple for you, where you aren't having to meal prep a ton, and you have 5 meals a day or 4 meals, depending on what system you're doing. But we have these scientifically designed fuelings to kind of think of it as nutritional training wheels. So we want to just be excited. Like I invite everyone to be excited, because what we have here is very unique and very special. And so I'm going to turn the time over to Capri, and she is going to introduce our topic, which I'm really excited about.
Awesome. Thanks, Britt. As Britt told you, she is my best friend, and I am a certified Optavia coach, and we get to do that together, which is super, super fun. But today we're going to jump into our topic of something that we're both really passionate about. And it is eliminating all or nothing, or banishing that all or nothing mentality in our lives. And it goes really, really well with our Choose Your Hard challenge that we're doing currently with the Check and the Check Plus and the Check Plus Plus system. And so we would kind of like to test the waters a little bit and see how many people are actually participating in the Choose Your Hard challenge. Just go ahead and throw 1 in the chat if you are participating in it. Okay, I am seeing a lot of responses. You guys, that's so awesome. And I'm sure everyone is like feeling a lot of improvement from it. Wow, you guys, there are so many ones. I love that everyone is participating in this. That's so great. Okay, so what we're going to go on is we're going to talk a little bit about banishing all or nothing mentality with our life, with these upper and lower limits that we set, with the idea of what these check pluses systems are. And before we move on, we want to make sure that everyone sees on the right side of this slide that this is the form that we want everyone to make sure that they are going to fill out this Friday before the end of the week. And it's just part of your challenge. So make sure that you guys find that in the app and fill out the Friday check-in form. So essentially, if you're not sure what a check or a check plus is, the idea behind a check is that we choose one super small habit to improve. And by doing one small itty bitty action towards it every day, it's a check mark. So even on your very worst and unmotivated day, you could show up and you could earn that check mark, because it's so very easy to follow through on. On a day where you have better motivation, you might be able to earn a check, and you might be able to do a little bit more towards that habit. So that's your check plus. But then we have those days where we kind of feel like Superwoman or Superman, and we just feel motivated to do all the things, to hit our check marks, to hit our check pluses, and to do so much more. And those are our check plus days. But one of the things that we really love about this system is that you shouldn't expect yourself to only be at that check mark. You shouldn't expect yourself either to be all the way at that check plus. So as we focus on checks and we add the pluses, you can really create healthy boundaries for what your work and what you're willing to do in your life without having any burnout or pushing yourself to do too much. But with the boundaries, the best part is that nothing is failure. So you can create these healthy boundaries, and a check, can be done on your very worst day. A check plus is just more progress, but every single bit of it is success. And so the next slide, the idea with the minimums and the maximums is that it creates a lack of what this slide says, and that's all pointing one way and nothing pointing the opposite way. And what you can see is that they are literally 2 complete separate directions. And that's not what we want. We don't want to be 100% all in our health goal, and then when we can't hit it one day because our lives get busy, we don't want to head the other direction all the way back to nothing. So when we aren't focusing on doing one big goal and doing it perfectly each day, your brain makes room and can see progress in everything that you can do, even on your worst day, and it helps you to create those upper limits that feel sustainable and don't allow you to burn out. So going to our next slide, this graphic is something that another coach shared, and it is just so beautiful because if you look at it, and for those who are listening in, the quote says, "The climb up the ladder, every step, small steps matter." But what the ladder on the right side looks like is it's too big. The rungs are too far apart, even for the person to grab the rung. So they're gonna have to jump every single time that they want to grab a new rung, which means that they're eventually gonna get tired. What happens on a day where their kid gets sick and needs extra attention, or where their project at work requires extra hours? Well, when they jump for the next rung on that day, oftentimes those are the days where we miss it completely and we find ourselves falling all the way back down to the ground. And that can get really, really overwhelming really fast, and we can find ourselves giving up completely. But the ladder on the left side, the rungs are almost ridiculously too close together, but that's the whole point, you guys. With that ladder, when we make those really small goals, the best part about it is that on your very best day, you might be able to jump, but you don't have to. So you can, climb 10 rungs if you want to. But on your very worst day where your kiddo is sick and that project needs extra hours and everything is going wrong, all you have to do is just climb one rung. And you could do that on that very worst day, and it's all success. It's all progress. So always striving for healthy amounts of progress in a life that is not perfect, because life is not linear progress. So you shouldn't expect your personal progress to be that straight upward line in our lives.
Sorry, I forgot I was muted. Okay, so let's take this to an example of something that Dr. A actually talks about a lot, is journaling. So we have this micro habit. So maybe picking up the pen and finding your journal every day. And then, you have your motivation, where sometimes you are going to be super motivated. You're like a toddler who just woke up from a nap with a snack. Okay. You're going to be, I have very young kids, so that's my world. So we have, just pages and pages that we're writing. So that's the day you get the check plus plus. But on the days where you're waking up like the newborn mom and you're just like, okay, all I can manage right now is just to get my pen and my notebook out, and my check mark for me is I do one line. Have you guys seen those like 1 line a day journals that they have? The reason behind that is because you're making a whole lot more progress than the people who never pick up their journal. So the idea here is that, we're making small incremental goals, and sometimes we're running, but sometimes we are literally just walking. And that's the idea here, is that, sometimes it can take, a lifetime to fill up this journal, or, sometimes you just never pick it up and you never do it. So it's progress, not perfection, kind of like what Capri was touching on.
I love that, Britt. So what we wanted to do is we just wanted to walk you guys through kind of how to use this model. If you have the ability to screenshot this, it might be a good idea to screenshot this. If you have this page in your life book, you're always welcome to visit it. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to take you through a real life application with one client that I was able to work through this with. They wanted to walk 60 minutes every morning, specifically in the morning. They felt very strongly that it was the time of day that they could make things happen. So go ahead and give it a click, Britt, and that goal will pop up. When we introduced this goal, it was a pretty big goal and it was a little overwhelming. The idea of making that your goal for the week. I'm just going to wake up every morning and I'm going to get outside and I'm going to walk for 30, 60 minutes. So there's a lot of opportunity for failure right there. But what I challenged my client to do was just to break it down itty bitty so that it literally couldn't cause failure. So I asked him, I said, would putting on your shoes and just stepping on the front porch every day at 6:30 a.m. when you want to get outside, would that be doable for you if you just put on your shoes and stepped out on your front porch? And he said, absolutely. I couldn't fail at that. And I said, okay, that's going to be our goal for this week. We can make it bigger next week, but that's what we're going to do. And then I introduced the idea of the plus. I said, okay, if you put on your shoes and you step out on your front porch, at 6:30 a.m. with time to go on a walk, there's a really good chance that you actually might go on a walk, right? He said, yes. And I said, what are your upper and lower limits, do you think, for this very starting, so that you're not getting overwhelmed? So go ahead and give it a click, Britt, and it'll introduce the plus. So he said that he wanted to walk no less than 5 minutes. So use his timer, and no more than 45 minutes. He had a really bad habit of when he went on a walk, he could just kind of like wander for a really long time, and he could find himself getting really overwhelmed by the amount of time that he was walking. So this really helped him to create those upper and lower limits. And it's gonna outline a little bit right here under the enough time. So with that consistency, his morning readiness routine becomes cognitive, which means he no longer has to start thinking about it. He no longer needs motivation to get up out of bed and to start walking. His walking daily becomes a second nature type of habit. And then those upper and lower limits on the duration change organically with his consistency. So what this creates, the best part, is that there's no failure, there's no quitting, there's no falling all the way back down to that nothing place. And then there's incremental progress seen every single day. So you can honestly feel like every day is a success. So now what we would really like to do is we want to introduce Miss Sarah Joy Rosales. I'm so excited to introduce her. She has been such an incredible example of this concept in her own health journey, and she's actually led a training on it for our coaches. So she's amazing, and I'm so excited for her to share her story with you on this concept.
All right, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you see me really well too? Okay, awesome. So I'm Sarah Joy Rosales, and I'm a certified Optavia coach. And I'm really excited to be on tonight and just share a little bit with you about my story. So I got started on my health journey in May of 2020. And at first it was all just about, changing physically. It wasn't until I started engaging my mind in the process that I realized how much I had really needed this reawakening, physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. And I just came to this realization one day, and I asked myself, how did I get here? When did I stop working on me? And I remember writing down, I've missed this. I've missed investing time in myself. And I've missed putting that effort into myself. And I will just say that when you invest time in yourself, when you invest that in yourself, it comes back tenfold. You begin having confidence in spades. Since then, I have been running with that newfound confidence and, that I have in living life. And I've just been breaking down walls and continually setting new goals for myself. So recently, over this last year, I found a new passion in training and competing in obstacle course races. And it's something that I never thought I'd be strong enough to do. And so while I've learned and grown so much, something occurred to me as I was reflecting on my last race that I just ran on September 11th. It was a 13-mile race through fields, up and down a mountain, across a river, and through 30 man-made obstacles as well. It was my first race of this intensity, so I didn't really know what to expect. And I would have loved to have, run or jog the whole thing. It took me 4 hours and 12 minutes to complete. So I would have loved to run and jog that entire time. But what I found was that I was only able to run or jog for parts of it. I ran or jogged when I could, but there were times when all I could do was walk. There were moments when my muscles were cramping and so fatigued that all I could do was keep putting one foot in front of the other. And that's what this journey to better health is like too. On our best days, when our circumstances are ideal, we can run and it's awesome. We can hit those maximums that we've set for ourselves. And, but on those days when life happens and, what hits the fan and we don't even want to leave the house, those are the days when we're walking, just putting one foot in front of the other is exactly what you need to do that day and no more. And so that's why setting those minimums is so important, so that even on your worst days, you can take a step forward, as small as it may be. The point is, on days when you can run, but always remember you can walk when you need to, as long as you keep moving in the direction that leads to the future that you want. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as you keep your why and your vision of what's possible in mind. As I've continued on this journey towards the vision and future I want for myself, I came to a point where I knew that others in my circle needed this gift as well. I made the decision to start coaching and offering this to others. And let me tell you, it's turned into something wonderfully unexpected. Coaching has provided that vehicle by which I continually work on myself. I've never had that before. I've never had that reason to continually work on me. And now I have an added desire and passion to always have that and to help others discover that as well. Some people, they hire a personal life or business coach and they pay big money for that. But in Optavia, we get that for free. The weekly trainings, the mentorship, the community events, they're all full of opportunities to push past your limiting beliefs, grow as an individual, and continue on that path of personal health. I'm so grateful for the blueprint and, for lifelong health that this program has provided for me and all those that I have and, that I get the honor to coach. So thanks for letting me share today, and I'll pass it back to you, Capri and Britt.
Okay, you guys, let's just take a minute to appreciate how strong Sarah Joy looks. Okay, I love the fact that she not only lost weight, but she's like, I'm gonna push myself. I'm gonna go for some goals that, like, looking back on her starting point, there's no way she was thinking that this is where she would be. That's what I love about Optavia, is it provides this vehicle for people to dream bigger, to live bigger. It's blessed my life in so many ways. And as soon as we had this topic of, minimums and maximums, I thought, oh, Sarah Joy, she's such a good example of this. So anyway, I just love that. Okay, so for this next slide, sorry, I'm so computer illiterate. It says perfection is a myth. And I really wanted to steer clear of this idea of perfection. And I thinking of things that I'm passionate to talk about with my own clients is the fact that they can keep going no matter, if they completely fell on their face yesterday, like we've been talking about all week. This is something I'm really passionate about, because I don't want people to ever think that they can't do this if they can't be 100% all in. So get that mentality and throw it in the garbage. Okay, I have a little poem I wanted to read to you guys. It's by one of my favorite authors. It's Shel Silverstein. So it's called Almost Perfect. So it says, almost perfect, but not quite. Those were the words of Mary Hume at her 7th birthday party, looking around the ribbon room. This tablecloth is pink, not white. Almost perfect, but not quite. Almost perfect, but not quite. Those were the words of grown-up Mary, talking about her handsome beau. The one she was going to marry squeezes me a bit too tight. Almost perfect, but not quite. Almost perfect, but not quite. Those were the words of Miss Hume, teaching in the 7th grade, grading papers in the gloom, late at night up in her room. Never crossed their T's just right. Almost perfect, but not quite. 98, the day she died, complaining about the spotless floor. People shook their heads and sighed. Guess that she'll like heaven more. Up went her soul on feathered wings. Out the door, up out of sight. Another voice from heaven come. Almost perfect, but not quite. And the reason why I chose that is because I think sometimes we think we have to have this perfect vision of what our health looks like, or a perfect vision of what this vehicle could look like, but really we are the vehicle and we will never be perfect. And so if we just do it one day at a time, one healthy habit at a time, like they say, that's how we strive to our own perfection. So I wanted to just thank you all for jumping on. This is a really fun time to be on together and to learn together. I hope that you learned some concept that you can apply to your own life. And some of you came to this call to learn a little bit more about coaching. So we're going to end our call with some basics of what it looks like to pay it forward to others. So stick around if you're curious about any of these topics. So we're going to talk about the secret of how to be 500% more likely to reach and maintain your healthy weight, how much money coaches make, other info on what it might look like to pay it forward to help others. And then otherwise, thank you for joining the Healthy Together time tonight, and we'll see you on next week.